Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Mukund Radha Kunikidi Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Navadip Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Jamunamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for joining us for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Wednesday, October 26th in New York, and we are in the third canto, 9th chapter, Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Tonight we are starting with verse number 17. Very much eager to hear your questions, comments, and if you'd like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, please go ahead and do that. We're so happy you could be with us, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Akendra Prabhu, and thank you to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramattaha karmanyayam twadurite bhavadarchane sve yastavadasya balavani hajivitasham sadyaschinatya nimishaya namostu tasmai. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans and the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Purport. People in general are all engaged in senseless work. They are systematically unmindful of the real beneficial work, which is the devotional service of the Lord, technically called the Archana regulations. The Archana regulations are directly instructed by the Lord in the Narada Pancharatra and are strictly followed by the intelligent men who know well that the highest perfectional goal of life is to reach Lord Vishnu, who is the root of the tree called the cosmic manifestation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadhati Swakadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrasatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lodita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krisha Panu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Panchako Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Loko Vikarma Nirata Kushale Pramatta Karmanyayam Tvarudite Pavadarchane Sve Yastavadasya Balavani Hajivitasham Sadyaschanatya Nimishaya Namostutasvai. I just wanted to call attention to this wonderful phrase at the beginning of the purport. They are systematically unmindful of the real beneficial work. That's Kushale Pramatta. Kushal means beneficial, fortunate, and Pramatta means negligent. Sometimes it means madly negligent. And systematically unmindful of what's actually beneficial, namely the devotional service of the Lord. Also in the Bhagavatam and in Bhagavad Gita, such regulative activities are clearly mentioned. Yes. Yata pravritir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam svakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati mana. By performing prescribed activities under the direction of the Lord, everyone can become perfect. Foolish people do not know that their self-interest is in realization of Vishnu. The Bhagavatam says, Matirna Krishne Paratasvato Va Ito Pipadyeta Graha Vitanham Adanta Gopir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Nate Vidusvarta Gatim Vishnum Durashaya Ye Bahirartamanina Antayatandayar Upaniyamanas Te Pisha Tantraham Urudamni Padta Naisham Matistava Guru Kramangrim Sprashatyanartha Pagamo Vyadartha Mahiyasam Padarajo Pishekam Iskinchananam Navrinita Yavat. Persons who are determined to totally rot in false material happiness, Griha Vritanam, cannot become Krishna-minded, either by instructions from teachers, by self-realization, or by parliamentary discussions. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chewed. Because of their foolish activities, they are unaware that the ultimate goal of human life is to achieve Vishnu, the Lord of the cosmic manifestation. And so their struggle for existence is in the wrong direction of material civilization, which is under the external energy. They are led by similar foolish persons, just as one blind man is led by another blind man, and both fall in the ditch. Such foolish men cannot be attracted towards the activities of the Supreme Powerful, who is actually the neutralizing measure for their foolish activities, unless and until they have the good sense to be guided by the great souls who are completely freed from material attachment. Here we get an extended description of what it means to be kushale pramatta and vikarma nirata. Vikarma nirata means engaged in unfortunate activities, sinful activities, and kushale pramatta, neglecting the real beneficial activities, just the opposite. They're trying to do something that will be for their own benefit, but they don't know what their own benefit is. Nate vidu swartakatim hi Vishnu. Durashaya ye bahirarthamanina. Because they don't know that their real benefit lies in the service of the personality of Godhead. They struggle to attain happiness in the external energy. Instead of looking within and finding Vishnu, they look out to the material energy and try to make adjustments, try to do something by which to be happy. But by this method, they're unfortunate. Karmanyayam twadudite bhavadarchane sve. They should be engaged in archane sve twadudite, in the activities of devotional service enunciated by you. You've given the method for being engaged in beneficial activities, being purified from vikarma, and going back to Godhead. But they're neglecting it, systematically neglecting the direction of the Lord. And yes, tavad asya balavan iha jivita sham. They're hoping for happiness. They're jivita sham, hoping for a happy life. But these strong hopes for happiness will be chinati, cut to pieces. At any moment, sadhya, suddenly, everything can be finished. Animishaya. Animisha means unblinking time. The Lord Brahma has offered obeisances to the Lord in the previous verse as the universal form. And here he offers respect to the Lord in his form as time. The whole world is controlled by the Lord in the form of time, and still everyone is trying to be independent. So they don't know their andaya tandaya rupaniyama. They're blind men following other blind men, fools following other fools. And the result is they all fall in the ditch of modern civilization, in which they imagine that they can be happy without Vishnu. They're busy chewing the truth of these verses from Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada. quotes. We won't go into all of them, although we could, and we could spend profitably many classes just unpacking these verses. But we'll move forward. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asks everyone to give up all other occupational duties and absolutely engage in archana activities or in pleasing the Lord. But almost no one is attracted to such archana activity. Everyone is more or less attracted by activities which are conditions of rebellion against the Supreme Lord. Instead of wanting to serve the Lord, we have our own project for enjoyment, a project which keeps failing, but we keep working at because of a rebellious mentality, because of systematic unwillingness to serve the Lord. The systems of jnana and yoga are also indirectly rebellious acts against the Lord. Let me take to karma, let me take to yoga, let me take to jnana, let me take to anything other than the direct devotional service of the Lord. This is Maya. There's no auspicious activity except archana of the Lord. Jnana and yoga are sometimes accepted within the purview of archana when the ultimate aim is Vishnu and not otherwise. The conclusion is that only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Others are vainly struggling for existence without any actual benefit. All right. Any comments or questions so far? Nikendra Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I really liked Prabhupada's translation of vikarma here. Often you see it translated as you've said, senseless or sinful activities. And he says, work without sense or foolish activities. And when I was reading this verse, I was thinking that clearly describes the activities that I was deeply enmeshed in before meeting the devotees. And then I was thinking also how the project for enjoyment, aside from serving Krishna, even he says aside from karma and jnana, if they're not employed in Krishna's service, I want to say that if even someone who's practicing devotional service is not very careful, those desires can creep up again and overtake that person so that they think that their own project is more important.
Yeah, we become attracted to pious activities because they're more appreciated in the world than devotional service. If you engage in direct devotional service, everybody will say, I can't figure out what's wrong with him. He's just turned his back on everything and he's joined some crazy group. But if you perform mundane pious activities, the world will be so grateful, appreciative. Mom and dad will say, yes, now he's really doing something. Everybody will, the public officials will give their nod of approval. Maybe some money will come our way. Everyone will say, yes, this is what we needed all along. We need more of this. And pure devotional service, what is the use of that? So the we can be subtly allured. First, we think, well, to spread devotional service, let me get the appreciation of the public by performing pious activities. And then the more the pious activities are appreciated, the more we start to congratulate ourselves for being engaged in such useful and beneficial activities for the welfare of the whole world. And then we lose sight of our real goal to satisfy Vishnu. So subtly, pious activities can overwhelm. I don't even want to say overwhelm, but they can just cover. Overwhelm is too sudden. They just gradually grow and cover over devotional service, so that devotional service becomes Kaitava Dharma, cheating religion. What is that? In second canto. Dharmasya yapavargasya nartoratayo pakolpate nartasya dharmaikantasya kama labhyaya ismata. The pure devotional service is just meant for satisfying the personality of Godhead, not for any other purpose. So karma, pious activities, and yes, senseless activities or foolish activities. Karma actually means pious activities. And then if it's vikarma, then it's not pious activity. What is it? It's just spinning your own wheels, struggling against the forces of time, doing stupid things because other people are doing the same stupid things. So kurute vikarma. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma, being intoxicated by the material energy. Everyone is engaged in vikarma. Yadindriya priti or apranoti, simply to satisfy the senses. The sadhu manye yadatmanoyam. What is that? Kleshana ashadeha. Thank you for that, Indra Prabhu. Saraswati says, I hear the paradox is that without feeling love and attachment to someone, it's almost impossible to be unreservedly devoted to serving them. So to want to commit and serve the Lord, we need love for him first, and yet we can only have love for him by first serving him. This is not so paradoxical as it's made out to be. In some religious systems, perhaps, the first thing is that you surrender, give your life. But in the Archana system of devotional service, just hear, just have some interest, and just associate with devotees, and gradually take up a purifying process. Gradually take up a purifying process. Not that we have to feel that example is there that Gargamuni Prabhu in the very early days asked Srila Prabhupada that should I bow down to you even if I don't feel anything? You know, we want to be authentic, we want to be genuine. Prabhupada said yes. Because by following these principles, the feeling develops, the attachment develops. If we just want to dive into the perfection of ideal devotion, that may be there for some days, but it won't last. it will be difficult for that to last. But if we take up systematic archana activities, then progress, gradually, and it comes to the perfection of love. Tulsi Priya marks mission drift, the drift from pure devotional service to pious activities, or again, for that matter, one can become all fascinated by various speculative ideas, and again, miss the point. Tina says, some would categorize Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha as Kaitava Dharma. Yes, Sridhar Swami would categorize it that way. The original commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, he remarks that Kaitava Dharma means Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Pious activity aimed at sense gratification or economic development, then sense gratification. And when we're frustrated in sense gratification, then merging with the Supreme. He calls all of this Kaitava Dharma, as distinct from pure devotional service to the Lord. Yes. Praveen says, argument. If I do not disturb you, I am not rebellious to you. I am just natural. I am having my life. Why does the Lord have to be disturbed by considering our dhyan and yoga or any activity of our life as rebellious? He doesn't have to be disturbed. We're the ones. If I don't disturb you, I'm not being rebellious to you. No. The idea is that my natural position is to act in service to the Lord. If I do something else, that's rebellion. The prescription is given by the doctor, you take this, you take that, you'll be cured. No, I won't do it. You take the pills, you bring them home, but then you don't take them. Why should I follow this fool? All right. The doctor's not going to be disturbed. You're the one who's going to suffer. It's not just rebellion against the Lord, and we'll get back at him. He'll be disturbed. He's undisturbed. Tita. But we're the ones who suffer. And Prahlad Maharaj says that when you decorate your face, and the face in the mirror is automatically decorated. So when we serve the Lord, we automatically look good. And the opposite, if we turn against the Lord, then everything looks bad. The Nishobhate, what is that? Praveen will give it to me. Apyachutam, Bhakti Varjitam, like that. Yeah, that's the verse.
It's 1:5:12.
Oh, it'll come in the chat box, and then okay, here it is. Naishkarmam apyachuta bhava varjitam. Vishobhate ganamalam niranjanam. Kuta puna shashvat vajram ishre nacharpitam. Karma yadap yakaranam. Knowledge of self-realization, Naishkarmya, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well, Nishobhate, if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. What then is the use of fruitive activities, which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature, if not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord? So who's suffering from as a result of rebellion? it's us. Even our gyan doesn't look very good, and what to speak of karma. So we're the ones who are suffering. I'm just natural. Yes, you're natural. Natural means you're acting according to the contamination that you've picked up from the three modes of material nature. And you're so accustomed to that you think that's natural. Just like I can speak about this because I've always had back problems. If you don't stand straight and you stoop, or then your muscles become weak, and you start to think that that posture is natural. I'm just being natural to go through the trouble of sitting straight and properly. That's just problem, just trouble. Let me be natural. But natural means the bad habits you become accustomed to. And what is the result of that? Back pain. You suffer. So better to be a little so-called unnatural, which actually puts us in our natural position. And so it is with anything, to follow a diet may be unnatural. But if we just eat all rubbish, and who will suffer? Just being natural, just natural me. This is all rubbish. This idea that whatever comes into my mind, just follow it because it's natural. I'm having my life, yes, and suffering. Why does the Lord have to be disturbed by considering our jnana and yoga rebellious? Again, it's not that he feels disturbed, but he's trying to give good counsel. If we don't take it, that's our misfortune. There's some hands here. Kendra Prabhu still has a hand up.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj. But I just had another, at the very end of Srila Vishwanath's purport to this, he gives a slightly different shade of meaning on this Jivita Asham Chinnati, that he says that time affects those other than the devotees. Time quickly kills the aspirations for life of non-devotees. What to speak of their desires for enjoyment? So it just gets rid of their whole desire to live.
Asha means hope. Asha, Pasha, Shatara, Banta, Kama, Krota, Varayana, the demonic. Asha, Pasha, they're bound by thousands of aspirations or hopes. This could work. This could work. I know it can work. I could do this. I could do that. I'm entering a new relationship. There's always, where there's life, there's hope. And where there's hope, it'll be smashed. Asha. Jivasha. Jivitasha. The desire to live, or the desire to enjoy. Both of them will be smashed. We want to live, but our life will be cut down. We want to enjoy, but the enjoyment will be ruined. Yes, Vishwanath, let me turn to that also. Time quickly kills the aspirations for life of non-devotees. What to speak of it can become so bad. I don't want to live anymore. What's the use of living? Therefore, suicide, which is on the rise in American colleges and universities, or just depression, which is huge. Our Madhupati Prabhu, when he was working for Merck Pharmaceuticals, told me that that's the number one thing that Merck is focusing on, antidepressants, because of significant percentage. I forget now. I've cited it, but I've forgotten what percentage it is. I think 20% of the population of America is clinically depressed. It's not working. So what do? You just become hopeless, depressed. So your aspirations for enjoyment have been smashed, and then finally, what's the use of living? There's no purpose. We have a purpose, but it can't be fulfilled. Then what's the use? Then depressed. And what's the solution for depression? Antidepressants. You remain bewildered, you remain foolish, you stick to that same pattern of trying to enjoy, and you take antidepressants so that you'll feel better. And the doctor who's prescribing them is in the same category. He's bewildered by the illusory energy, and his aspirations will also be cut down. His happiness, his life will also be cut down. Panchatattva Prabhu, that's something that you wanted to say.
I was just struck by that turn of phrase that Prabhupada uses in rendering the translation for 7530, where he says, persons who are determined to totally rot. There's some animal, some unfortunate animal at the end of our driveway, the foot of our driveway, that met with an untimely death due to some speeding vehicle. And now it's gotten to the point where it's just unbelievably awful to smell. And I was thinking about that poor animal. You know, we say things like rotten jail or totally rotten character, but I was thinking about that poor animal and thinking how detestful material life must seem to persons who are actually Krishna conscious. It must be like that, you know. Oh, this is an unbearable smell. Hare Krishna.
Jai, thank you. Saraswati says, our unbridled senses convince us at every step that chewing the chewed is really the only option left for self-preservation, fulfilling our unlimited desires and dreams, that we have a right to, and be successful in any field we aspire to. Our mind tells us it's protecting us and aiding us in plans to be happy. Yes, Natavidu Svartakatemi Vishnu. We're actually thinking that this will work, and it takes different forms. Sometimes it really looks like it'll work. It's endorsed by leading authorities, and the whole world is behind it. You're doing good. You're on track. You'll be accepted by a major university. Maybe you'll get a scholarship. Your whole career is ahead of you. A good life. Maybe it looks like that, or maybe it looks bad from the beginning. But either way, it's not going to work. It's just ignoring. These are different ways of ignoring the ultimate problems of life. Until we inquire about spiritual realization, whatever we do will be defeated.
I have a question.
Yes.
Until we inquire, everything will be defeated. But what is the hope for someone to inquire when we're so enmeshed, when we have this concept of Prakriti Kriyamanani? You know, you think you're the doer, but everything's being carried out by Prakriti. And these people are so covered to the point that they're committing suicide, they're depressed. Is it the devotees? Is it our fault that these people don't come to Krishna? Because what hope do they have independent?
Well, it's not a question of blame, but responsibility. How are these people going to be uplifted? Mahiyasham Rajapisho Bhishekam, Padarajobhishekam. They have to come in touch with the dust of the lotus feet of devotees. So the devotees, therefore, have to take up this project. Otherwise, as you said, they're so bewildered by the material nature that whether they think they're doing good or whether they think they're doing lousy or whatever it is, they just don't see the ultimate issues. Or what is that? Andhayatandarupaniyamana mandasu mandamatayo. If they take a little interest, then they get misled by some cheater, whether he's a psychologist, or he's got the answer or the secret or the way to unleash your true potential, or this or that or whatever, or he's got a new business formula. Whatever it is, it's not going to work. But people think it will work. People think it will work. I can latch onto this, I can latch onto that. But they're latching onto something fallible, something that won't last, something that they're following blind men who don't know.
So it's just luck if you come in contact with the devotee?
Well, it's luck, and it's also the determination of the devotees. That we have Ratanam, the materialists are determined to rot in the material world, and the devotees are determined not to rescue them from rotting in the material world. So it's not just chance that, well, it happened to me, but the devotees are actively trying to make people fortunate. Kushale. Kushale pramata, people are ignoring their real benefit, but the devotees are determined to give them what's really beneficial. Why are the devotees going out and chanting? Why are the devotees working so hard to get people to get books into people's hands? Why are devotees working to bring people to Krishna consciousness? It's for their benefit. Otherwise, what hope do they have following all the, as Prahlad Maharaj says, I was following these fools. I was misled. But Narad Muni picked me up. So the representatives of Narad Muni have to rescue the people who are otherwise just going from one foolish notion to another, sometimes intoxicants, sometimes gambling, sometimes illicit sex, sometimes meat eating, sometimes this eating, sometimes that. If it's not meat eating, then it's vegan. Okay, now we're vegan, so our life is going to be truly meaningful. No. You eat this or you eat that without Krishna consciousness, it will be unsuccessful. You have sex with this one, or you illicit sex, or you get married and have sex with your wife. But either way, without Krishna consciousness, it will fail. I'm sure glad I gave up that life I was living, going from one woman to the next, and now I've what's the word? Someone put it to me in a particularly interesting way. Anyway, now I'm not roaming around anymore. I've found a happy relationship. But whatever it is, without Krishna consciousness, without devotional service, without a connection to the personality of Godhead, it will be It will be a failure. And finally, sadyas chinatya animisha, unblinking time. Time doesn't miss a moment. Sadhya, suddenly. Sadhya, Prabhupada gives directly or suddenly. Sajo vimuchyeta, sadhya, quickly, so all of a sudden, chinati just cuts everything to pieces. That will happen. Anything material has to be cut to pieces because that's the nature of material existence. Haridas says, for Gorkishore Das Babaji, it was more putrid smelling outside the latrine than in it while chanting. Yes, the world is putrid. Thank you for that. Atina's, I spent this past weekend fully engaged with materialists, and I'm completely wiped, depleted, feeling awful. I'm still recalibrating in response to Panchatattva's comment. Yeah. Therefore, that association is so important, to have the association of devotees and the activities of devotional service. The association of materialists is debilitating. It's interesting, they speak about empowerment. That's the buzzword of the day, empowered, empowering women, empowering minorities, empowering these people and those people. It's an illusion. What power? You're a little insect under the control of the overwhelming force of time. And because you've read a book, or you've joined a program, or you've taken up a method, now you're empowered. What empowerment do you have? The power to be foolish. Panchatattva says in Kali Yuga, people are great at multitasking all four of the sinful pillars of life at the same time. That's true. And I was thinking about this whole multitasking business, which has been so applauded in recent times. It's, in one sense, antithetical to normal life. The more balls you can keep up in the air at once, the better. And then you're not giving proper attention to anything. You're just part of the culture of distraction. I can take care of my kids while I'm doing reading my Facebook feed and cooking breakfast or dinner and doing this and doing that. I can do all of these things, and without a unifying thread of Krishna consciousness, and just multitasking becomes what's the word? An objective, a goal in itself, or virtue in itself. I was doing one foolish thing. Now I can do 5 foolish things at once. Or intoxication, gambling, meat eating, illicit sex, and accumulating needless money for sense gratification. I can do all of that at once. I'm empowered. So that's not the life of goodness. That's the life of passion and ignorance. In goodness, there's simplicity, there's a peaceful mind. We can do one thing and then we can do another thing. Some people who met Srila Prabhupada, devotees included, have remarked how Srila Prabhupada would give you his full attention. It wasn't that he was answering his email and doing this and that and also talking to you. When he would give attention to someone, he'd be focused. He'd be focused. He didn't feel that he had to do 7 things at once, and look how much he accomplished. I remember seeing Srila Prabhupada cooking when he was cooking, his full attention was on cooking, like every, because he was cooking for Krishna, everything was done with careful attention. And then he would do something else. He'd be cooking, he'd be translating, he'd be answering mail. And look how much he accomplished in a small time. Not that this multitasking is a goal in itself. Praveen says, Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijala Bapurno Manam Janad Avidusha Karuna Vrinite Yad Yajjano Bhagavate Vidhita Manam Tachchatmane Pratimukasya Yatampa Shri. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. For the Lord does not need service from anyone. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. All right, so we can stop here, I think, unless there's any other last comment. Gurudas says we're warned by the acharyas all offenses in japa stem from inattention. Yes. Multitasking. Yeah, we're chanting japa. The Yamuna in book about Jamuna Devi, it said that Jamuna was chanting and she was not noting down something to be done for later. Prabhupada said, no notes. No notes. Not that we're chanting japa and we're thinking about things to be done later. No notes. When we're chanting, chant. That's hard. We want to keep everything going at once. The mind wants to keep going in so many directions at once. But japa means with attention. Thank you for that. Kirtan. Who's doing kirtan today? Saraswati. My father would often remark that the devotees could open your eyes to your nonsense, but with a genuine childlike smile. Yes. Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Purnamansa Pariprajaka Ashto Tarasatashi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Charja Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all once again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Doug, Shara, Meena. Thank you to all.
Thank you, everyone. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srimad Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jayādvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Haribol.